Forbes journalist Dr. Rosalind Layton is receiving support for her motion to intervene in the lawsuit between Ripple Labs and the Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, seeking public access to the Hinman speech documents. Empower Oversight Whistleblowers and Research, Empower, has expressed its support for the motion. Welcome to XRP Insider. We provide the latest news of XRP Ripple. To stay updated with exciting news, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. To know more, please watch till the end. Empower is a non-profit, non-partisan organization that works to improve independent oversight of government and corporate misconduct. Its mission is to help insiders document and report corruption to the appropriate authorities. Via Twitter, the government watchdog wrote that founder and President Jason Foster's organization supports the motion to unseal the Hinman documents related to SEC conflicts of interest in cryptocurrencies. In a press release, Foster stated that the public deserves answers from the SEC about what exactly the agency knew about Hinman's speech and when it knew it. The SEC has consistently stonewalled any attempts from public interest transparency organizations, including Empower Oversight, to shine a light on conflicts of interest and ethical questions at the agency. The statement goes on to say that Empower has been ignored by the U.S. agency since August 2021. At that time, the government watchdog made a request which is still the subject of an ongoing Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) lawsuit against the SEC. Last October, Empower Oversight filed its opposition to the SEC's motion for summary judgment in the FOIA lawsuit over documents related to conflicts of interest and selective enforcement in cryptocurrency cases. In December, the organization also filed a records request with the SEC seeking full records of communications with a list of names. Thus, Empower's interest aligns with the intent of Dr. Rosalind Layton, who argues that the Ripple case against the SEC will decide the future of cryptocurrencies in the United States. According to Dr. Layton, the case will serve as a legal referendum on the SEC's entire system of regulation by enforcement for the industry, which is why the public has a legitimate interest in the Hinman documents. In a new development in Dr. Layton's motion to intervene, pro-XRP attorney James Fillon announced in a tweet on February 22 that an amended motion to intervene had been filed. Dr. Layton's original motion suggested that the SEC had offered the Hinman speech documents in support of its own summary judgment motion, which was not the case. To that extent, the motion had to be amended on formal grounds to preserve the chance of being granted by the U.S. Southern District Court of New York judge. At press time, the XRP price held at $0.3888 and remained in its sideways trend. Founder and managing member of Dizzer Capital Yasin Mubarak has taken to Twitter to comment on a recent Twitter statement by Ripple's chief technology officer and co-creator of XRP Ledger, David Schwartz. He referred to a recent comment of Schwartz, in which he stated that they, apparently meaning Ripple, may be tempted to walk through a door and shut it behind themselves. The discussion started on February 21 by Twitter user Mr. Huber2, at Learsite, who commented on a recent tweet by Ripple's chief legal officer Stuart Alderety. The latter published a post in which he dropped a hint that Ripple may move the SEC case to the U.S. Supreme Court should the current judge take the side of the SEC. Alderety tweeted that the regulator has already lost 4 of its last 5 cases in the Supreme Court. Twitter user Mr. Huber reckons that, in this way, Alderety was threatening SEC Chair Gary Gensler to settle on the terms suggested by Ripple. This would give the fintech giant a unique advantage and clarity over all others. Otherwise, Mr. Huber believes, Alderety means that Ripple will take away his jurisdiction over crypto by beating the SEC in the Supreme Court. Here's where David Schwartz joined in with his comment to say that Ripple cannot win without the whole crypto space winning as well. He added that Ripple will always prefer wins for everyone in the space if we can. The CTO of Ripple then published a tweet that had Yasin Mubarak slightly confused. Schwartz wrote that his company may be put in a position where they would be tempted to walk through a door and slam it shut behind them. He said that he would not like Ripple to do this but cannot promise that it will not happen. Mubarak called this tweet kind of worrying and suggested 2 interpretations. In the first one, it is Ripple that will walk through the door, shutting it and leaving XRP holders behind. The second is that Ripple and XRP go through the door and the rest of the crypto space is shut out. It is hard to say what exactly Schwartz meant here, but judging from the previous statements of Ripple's executives, this might be either that they will indeed take the case to the Supreme Court or that they will end the lawsuit only by getting XRP acknowledged as a non-security asset. Previously, Brad Garlinghouse said several times that Ripple would like to get a clear set of regulatory rules from the SEC for the whole crypto space to follow in order to know how to play the game. Earlier, Ripple chief Garlinghouse also mentioned that should the company lose the case to the SEC, Ripple would most likely leave the US for a crypto-friendly jurisdiction such as Japan or the UAE. As the legal battle between Ripple Labs and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) continues to await a ruling from Judge Annalisa Torres of the United States Southern District Court of New York, Ripple's chief legal officer has spoken out with a striking statement on Twitter. The belligerent statement comes at a time when the SEC is conducting a supposed Operation Choke Point 2.0 against the crypto industry, and also faces the first day of trial in 2 weeks in the litigation over a Bitcoin spot ETF with Grayscale. Ripple's Stuart Alderete stated that the SEC has lost a total of 4 of the 5 cases that made it to the Supreme Court. The SEC has lost 4 of its last 5 cases in the Supreme Court, thanks to the few that had the courage and resources to fight back against the SEC's bullying and clinging to stretch legal positions that were not faithful to the law. The statement is causing a stir in the XRP community in that the reference for the statement is not entirely clear. Does Alderete imply that Ripple is willing to go to the Supreme Court in case of an unfavorable outcome of the court case? Or is Alderete just pointing out that the SEC often has a poor case record against strong opponents who oppose the agency's overreach? XRP community lawyer John E. Deaton referred to Alderete's statement. Particularly noteworthy is the last sentence, in which Deaton states that the summary judgment brief could already be a preliminary to an appeal brief. I have no doubt Ripple will win and the current Supreme Court will shut down the SEC's gross overreach. The West Virginia versus EPA case is all you need to read to agree with me. Ripple's summary judgment brief is already an extremely well-written appellate brief. In the case referenced by Deaton, the Supreme Court ruled that the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, does not have congressional authority to limit emissions from existing power plants by shifting generation to cleaner sources. Deaton is likely alluding to the fact that the SEC is exceeding its authority with the XRP securities lawsuit and that only Congress can provide regulatory clarity. The Supreme Court has the authority to require this. At this point, however, there is no clear sign from a Ripple executive that the company is ready to continue its fight in the Supreme Court. In recent months, several Ripple execs have repeatedly expressed optimism about a favorable outcome of the court case. At press time, XRP traded at $0.3923, seeing a rejection at the key resistance at $0.4083 yesterday. We would like to make it clear that this is not a platform designed expressly to offer financial advice, and we are not requesting that you invest in any particular business. This is just a route used to deliver instructional material to your door. See you again soon on XRP Insider, the leading source for cryptocurrency news.